HarperCollins presents Damaged by Barbara Taylor Bradford, read by Regina Reagan. Aftermath, 2017. Allison, Manhattan. Allison needed a drink. Her brother, Jimmy, had made his usual foray to her rented room, picked the lock, and dumped her precious stash of Tullamore Dew down the drain. It felt like Jimmy and her dad were on speed dial at every liquor store in New York's 5 boroughs. The minute she cobbled together enough money to pick up a pint of cheap whiskey, the proprietor would pick up the phone and rat her out. After she had paid, of course. Cops. She was surrounded by cops. It was the Jones family's curse. You were either a cop or a drunk. Her father, her brother, her uncle, 3 cousins, all were cops. Even her mother, her beautiful, iconoclastic mother, had been a cop. Shot dead by a 16-year-old punk trying to make a name for himself. The whole family were cops, except for Allison. She was the drunk. Someone had to do it. And drunks needed to drink. That need was not the only thing propelling Allison Jones towards West 45th Street on this bitingly cold November night. She needed to be with people. She needed the rowdiness of an Irish bar, the smell of shepherd's pie mingled with corned beef and cabbage and beer. She needed to hear laughter. When, she wondered absently, as she waited for the light to change, had she last laughed? Not just pretended she was having a good time, so some guy would buy her another drink. Never, maybe. But even as that bitter thought came, she knew it wasn't true. There was a time, not long ago, when joy and laughter and love were as familiar to her as the emptiness was now. Once she had a big, loud, loving Irish family. Once she had a career, owned a thriving business. Once she had had Mike. If you had him, there was nothing more to want from a life. A car horn blared, and she realized she was standing in the middle of 6th Avenue, tortured by memories and regret. Those who said, better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all, didn't know what they were talking about. For her, loss was a physical sensation. Loss tore at her heart, denied her sleep. Most likely it was because she knew in her heart she hadn't lost Mike. She had thrown him away. The only thing that made the pain of this feeling stop was oblivion. She was headed there now. Allison picked up her pace. The familiar light emanating from O'Lunney's looked at that moment like salvation. Her heel caught in a crack in the pavement, and she stumbled and nearly went to the ground. Careful, she told herself, hanging onto a parking meter, unsteady in heels way too high for her condition. She was already buzzed. What Officer Jimmy didn't know was that his baby sister always carried a little something in her purse, something to get her through one of his purges. Allison bent and pressed her forehead against the frigid meter until the cold cleared her head. No falls tonight, no mysterious bruises, no being carried out of a bar, no waking up next to someone she didn't remember meeting. She had promised herself that would never happen again. Slow and steady, she whispered to herself, letting go of the meter. 10 yards more, and she was pulling open the heavy oak door to the pub. Laughter rolled out into the street, and Allison forgot how cold it was. She was home. Slow and steady quickly turned into fast and furious. Before long, Allison was perched on the bar stool, sloppy drunk, singing maudlin Irish songs that made her cry. She had inherited her mother's voice, if not her rock-solid sense of decency. She didn't care right now that she was surrounded by men she had charmed before she went over the edge, men who had already ordered more drinks for her, enough drinks to seal the deal. Even if they lost interest, Charlie, the bartender she'd known most of her life, had collected the cash and would dole the booze out on demand. She wasn't positive, but she thought she'd promised to go home with what's-his-name with the blonde hair. It would be good not to be alone. Soon she would
Sample complete. Ready to continue?